Alright, peace y'all. This is God's in them streets, part 2 on this Bimmy situation, talking about the Supreme Team and the guards, and how he wasn't God. It's just a picture of me, in the old days, But anyway, I wanted to address this because I was going to keep, kind of keep gloves on this, but I kind of changed my mind and wanted to go into a little bit more history. Once again, a picture of the dogs out in the desert, where Bimmy is from Queens back in the days. Man righteous, a lot of other individuals in there. But anyway, I thought that I would play this one more time because there was a couple more things that was brought back to mind about Bimmy that I needed to bring up. So before I bring that up, once again, I'd like y'all to listen to his version of why he's free and the rest of the 5%ers from the Supreme Team is, either encapsulated or dead.
But true power is knowing that you won before you even do anything.
Power is the truth.
But me personally, like, my power in my is, like, I was a Christian. Every guy I was with was a son of sin. They knew they were God. Everyone knew it was God. Supreme, just, French, G.R.V.C, Wise, Green Out, all these guys, they God. They God bodies. They knew they were God. I always believe. Not God. You know what I'm saying? I'm only going to tell the story. I'm only going to tell the story. You know what I'm saying? You ain't no knock on the name.
Okay, he said it ain't no knock on none of them. He the only one here to tell the story. So I guess God, me, G.R.V.C, he alive. Once again, back then at that time, I was G.R.V.C, God, Allah. We know Allah is all our proper last name because us being slaves, you know what I'm saying, we were separated. And if I was on the East Coast and I reached the degree of 7 years old, which is God in supreme mathematics, a lot of times I was separated off the plantation and I was probably taken to the West Coast. And if I was a Jones in the East Coast, then when I went out to the West Coast, I might have became Overbrook, or Mayhem or whatever name that my slave master, that's my new slave master now, name is. So this is why we let go of those names, because none of those names, which is our government name, truly represent who we are. A lot of times the guards be telling me, my man Law Intelligence and all of them from, Brownsville, be saying, yo, God, you be being too soft on them, and, people want the hype and the action, but I'm not here for all that. I'm not telling these stories, to cause more confusion, within us as being original people, but I got to state the facts about certain things. And a lot of times people want to, misinterpret, or place us in the box as being 5%ers. And especially nowadays, with Nas doing things on the Supreme Team, 50 Cent doing this thing, and the Rise of Cain, which I'm going to get to that in a little while, because we the only guards that ever had a tailor shop out on Supton Boulevard. And y'all know what I'm talking about. And Supreme, my brother can vouch for this because when he came home, we had the two tailors from Dapper Dan's, Mr. Zach and Mr. Muhammad, and I'm going to go more into that story about how he bought, that bulletproof material over there for us to make him some vessels. But I'm going to touch on a little bit of what we call, or y'all would call, sacred grounds, And this is why a lot of people be like, yo, Shy, you got to cool down. You can't be just coming out. Because they know I'm going to manifest the truth. I'm going to tell it like it is, So I'm going to go through phase one with an occasion with Bimmy, And one of my brothers that at that time, was one of the main, I choose for the team. Matter of fact, he had Knowledge Bill, Born Cypher Divine Wise. Y'all all know what it is. So I'm just going to stick to it like this and say, you know what I'm saying, power, rule, righteous. And y'all all know who I'm talking about. But at that moment, you know what I'm saying, the guard was on the run. And on some real G'd up shit, he was out there in Medina with us, East Medina, the guards from Logan Street. Another story that, when I go into that one, that's going to tell you all of this tied in. But, we was up there at Sutter Gardens. I used to walk and talk and build with the guard every day. This was in between when I came home in 91. I was just coming back home from up north when all of this was taking place. Just before I end up on the island, which is going to be part 2 of this, which, like I said, man, I'm just trying to be easy with this. But no disrespect to anybody. I got to tell the story as it is. And if anybody tell it differently or you decide to tell it differently, Bimmy, then, the power that be won't be the truth that you'll be telling. But anyway, like I said, the guard was going through his things, individuals wasn't hitting him off with no money. And like all these cats that be talking in these so-called documentaries or whatever, they said like when Prince came back home or whatever was going on, that the team was down to making 10,000, a week or so before all that shit took place with the bodies that they was accused of with those Colombians, which I'll go into further when I proceed with this right here. Okay? So, like I said, me and the guard used to walk and talk every day, and he was telling me, how, he was like out in the cold, and it was the truth, because he was out there with us, and we was putting him up. But, like I said back then, all of us 5%ers, we basically knew who from each and every barrel, and especially those that was a part of GMG, which is Getting Money Guards. You know what I'm saying? So, we happened to be walking down, Euclid Avenue and shit from up there on Picking and Euclid. I don't know why we ended up there that day. So we walked down, shout out, to another one of my comrades, and I'm going to do something special on him one of these days. I just need a lot of, photos of these guys when I'm telling it. But my man Jamaican Chris, he had a store at that time on one side, which used to be the barbershop. Used to be Bautista's barbershop. My man, all them, Puerto Ricans that used to work in there back there, they used to cut out hair, supreme. But anyway, Chris got hold of it, turned it into a little weed gate, / candy store / lingerie, everything. And on the other side is the store that's still there to this day. So me and Wright, walking, all of a sudden, see somebody pulling up with a nice big Benz. So of course, with the attracting eye, we turn around more or less, not just that, just being on point. Because out there in the East, it's blazing at that time. Do or die, So anyway, he looked back, see who hop out. I ain't even really know Bimmy like that then. We talking about around 91 or whatever. And even though I was in Queensboro before I came out, you know what I'm saying? Another one, rest in peace, my man Civ. I was in there with Fat Raleigh that used to deal with, Fat Cat and them getting them clothes and all that. And I first met Raleigh through my homegirl that's from, you know what I'm saying, Queens at that time, Elaine, and she was the first one to tell me basically, about Raleigh, and I met Raleigh, and that's how Cat really made his big statement, because back then, when whatever drug crews or whatever was in New York, when you made a real big statement, and Cat made a big statement at that time, because he had an 18-wheeler pull up to the block out there. I don't know what block it was, Pacific 150 or whatever, but he had a 18-wheeler trailer pull up with all brand new Honda Elites in there. And that was the shit back then. You know what I'm saying? From the mini bikes to, the like Honda Elites, MB5s, all that type of shit like that. So when everybody heard about that, that bell rang through, throughout the land. So anyway, getting back to the story, right season, right, like, yo, hold up a minute, Shy. Think that's that cat Bimmy. Chill. So I stopped my motion. God went back. Sure enough, it was Bimmy. But I was close enough to hear, you know what I'm saying, the conversation. So he stepped to him like, yo, what's up? What's good, Ben? Oh, ain't nothing, everything good, right? What's up, God? Boom, boom, boom. I can't say the words verbatim. We talking about decades ago. But anyway, like, yo, what's happening, man? You know what's up, man? God need a little something, And Bim like, yo, I ain't got nothing much on me, but he reached in his pocket. You could get everything I got. And Bimmy, if I'm telling a lie, you know what I'm saying? You could get up on any of these channels. You could get on my channel or whatever, and come see me about it, because like I said, once again, this ain't about no disrespect, punking you or nothing like that. We all official OGs from back out in the past, you know what I'm saying, trying to do what we can, to change the mindset of the youth and correct all, the damage and destruction that we did back then in our communities. But anyway, getting back to my story, he went in his pocket, came out, boom. Hit Right with everything in his pocket, and Right was like, yeah, like, I'ma see you, whatever, boom, 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 stay. He like, yo, I got you, Right, like more or less, yo, come see me, the jazz or whatever. But for that moment, homie peeled out. So we walked down the street, bang, Right, like, yo, man, niggas gotta do me right, man. This shit is fucked up, everything we going through, whoop, 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 whoop. Started counting out $1,600, give or take. My memory is pretty good. So, therefore, at that moment, like I said, man, and I'm not saying this out of disrespect, but y'all know how we was giving it up, bro. Don't play like, the gods is just some regular man, hip hop, everything. We influence all this. This is why when y'all get on TV with your little hip-hop stories and everything else, why y'all don't be giving up and say that all the park jams, when they played Love is the Message, and everybody used to sing, because the black man is the God, study your lessons, because the black man is the God, Allah you build. We always have it, always will. Where they get the cipher from? How can the MCs talk about a cipher without talking about the gods? Like I said, on the East Coast, all that gangbang was crushed because we all got the knowledge of self. We knew that, like we say in our supreme mathematics, knowledge born. That's the savior. We got to save ourselves. So we got to re-educate the mindset of the people so that they can save their self. All right? So let's keep this all the way G'd up. I'm going to go a little bit further here, and like I said, man, sometimes, I can even get beside myself. Because like I said, this is God in them streets. God, gangster, and gentleman. So right about now, I'm going to give you, the gangster side and everything else. So part 2 of this right here, to reinforce, and I'm not calling you homie, in any disrespectful way or talking about, as a snitch or whatever. I was going to bring my full paperwork out, but y'all could look in some of my other videos and see that I've shown the paperwork, this is another serious story to go into, but I'm breaking it up in bits and pieces before I really go into it, okay? And I'm going to just start out with, this was during the time where I was charged with equality attempt, you know what I'm saying, murders on the C Cypher pump. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't have anything against law enforcement or anything. But like I said, we come out of time where back then and still nowadays, that in most communities, most law enforcement are good. They there to serve and protect the community, be constables of the community. You know what I'm saying? Keep the community from being in shadows. Even though we know, like right about now, I'm going to go into another one later on, not skipping around, what they about ready to do up there in Chicago in January is off the hook. But this is during the time, like I said, I just told you the story about me, Righteous, and Bimmy, and the money. So right after that, a couple of months down the line, this is where my whole life gets chaotic, and everything pops off. I'll go into the full story at another time, but it became a big thing over at the P's, and it turned into, a shootout in which I was involved with. I was acquitted, but, at that time, I was charged with from an A felony all the way down to an E felony, but my top charges were 6 attempt murders on the police. And like I said, no disrespect to the West Coast or anything like that, but I done watch Mob James, I done watch, Whack 100, I done watch Big U, and a lot of them saying they gang culture back then, you know what I'm saying, when the police would show up, they would take off, and they have guns on them. Well, we come out of the era before Giuliani. So when we was in that, like I said, I got another one with, the little gun trade back and forth between Virginia. But during those times, they had 38s. We had, Mac 10s, Mac 11s, Tech 9s, Calicos, Uzis, you name it. So when they would come into the projects, once again, 315 Fountain Avenue, and we standing out there fully armed, they gonna roll up and they gonna look at us and we gonna be like on Biggie, some real shit. What you looking for? Do you want donuts? Because they know what we carrying, and at that time, you know what I'm saying, is ABG. Anybody could get it. Because if you in the field, and I'm not saying none of this for y'all to go out and retaliate on police or whatever, but in the same token, like I said, we come from the era, Clifford Glover, my best friend, Randolph Evans, another friend of mine, Shamel, all of them killed by the police. All the atrocities that I faced it as a young, black man growing up out there by Cross Bay Boulevard. Y'all know Michael Griffin, all that. I know them 5 dudes, Lil John dude used to be over there at the Linwood Diner. Okay? So, like I said, once again, under those charges, fortunately and unfortunately, you know, I ended up in the Beacon. I'm gonna show y'all right here. Let me get it right so y'all can see that. You know what I'm saying? Okay? This right here, because when I got to the Beacon back then, the Beacon was off the chain. You know what I'm saying? You had Bush in there from LG, Derek Hamilton. Matter of fact, Bush was the first one to help me on this case in the law library. You know, he gave me the Strickland versus Washington. You know, so when I first got to the Beacon, because they kicked me out of Brooklyn House, you know, I went on the 3A side, you know, and I was only there for a quick minute. Something went down with me and this CO chick that was real fine. I knew her from the streets. Her name was Miss James. If any of y'all that was in the building back then, we're all, like I said, the super gangsters from every borough, you know, was in there. And I'm going to continue on. Like I said, somehow I went to child. I was in 3A. 3A was off the hook. You know, my man Khalil from out in Queensbridge, light-skinned Khalil, this other cat, you would have looked at him, you would have thought he was soft as hell. He was from Harlem. My man Little Sean, you know what I'm saying? And Little Sean, he was down on something, you know, he had 18 years for a body, but he was down there, so he was in there. But anyway, when I went in there and I got in there, so happily, G.R.V.C, you know, cousin Khalil Henry, he was in the building. It was a whole bunch of other niggas, but I'm just saying this is the first episode and I'm just getting in there. So, boom. Like always, see, and this is what I'm saying when you could tell where a motherfucker saw from, excuse my language, a live wire, you know, or somebody that's, you know, about theirs and gonna let everybody know that they there. And when I got there, they called night rec. And that's how I ran into Henry in the gym. You know, Big Moon was in there, like I said, you know, I don't know if Bush was in there at that time. You know, you had Jamaican Scar, off the chain, much respect for Flatbush. You know what I'm saying? Big Jeff, you know, I don't know if Big Head Tiny was in there at that time. You know, Little Mag, all of us worked night sanitation and all that. But like I said, I'm going to continue with the names, you know, Big Born True, everybody. Matter of fact, that was when I got there, you know, and I went through it. They was first talking about sending me the 9 block, which 9 block at that time, that's when they first started calling 9 block in the Beacon 9 Blood. And my man Big C Just from the Supreme Team was in there. And I'm going to keep it G'd up with y'all 100. You know, everybody else was wearing the orange jumper. We was so big and Diesel, yeah, fat niggas, they let wear the blue suit. But you got niggas that's caught Diesel that's wearing the blue suit. Us cats that could go out to the yard and put 4 plates on each side. So not only am I a mental monster, you know what I'm saying? Because all that bullshit that cats be talking about, you know what I'm saying, with niggas going to jail and, you know, having to put stuff up their ass and all that. Y'all niggas that did that type of shit was the peons. And I don't care where you at, who you amongst. You know what I'm saying? Because if you amongst the real generals, the real live wires, the guards and the superiors and all that like that, we don't go down and put nothing up in our rectum. We let other niggas do that and come back up. But let me continue on with my story because y'all know how it was off the hook. And because my classification was so high, I couldn't go in no other building but HTM or the Beacon. It's just that when I got to the Beacon, it was just being open. It was fresh because they really set the Beacon up for niggas doing like 1.5 to 3.5, but it didn't pop off like that. So like I said, man, boom, how it really popped off was I'm in there that night, like I said, I go to night gym, Khalil Henry roll out the red carpet, tell little Khalil and them, yo, like more or less, like y'all say, big homie, this, that, and the third, official 18, from Cyprus. And back at that time, a lot of niggas was in there. I'm not gonna blow up none of our little young team, but they wasn't really ready for that shit like that on the alley, and that's when you really had to be a man one way or another, because even growing up, all the cats that was my OG, that stood for manhood, because back then they was going to the alley and it was about wrapping up and what you could do with the 52 and all that shit, or they come from, they say the King Booty Bandit, Mother Dare, you know what I'm saying? My man Eric Tweedy, all them type of dudes, But anyway, right, we go to chow in the morning, boom, boom, boom. So I'm on the line with my mans and them. We getting ready to go to breakfast. I see Miss James. So when I see her, automatically me and Khalil back there, I'm like, yo, son, I know that chick from somewhere out in the street. But I'm gonna keep it G'd up. We was running wild with them chicks back then, all boroughs, whatever. So, I ain't really, could put it all in its proper perspective, So might have been a thing between us and nothing more than that, and I kind of kept it moving, or we hit her now and then. Anyway, it didn't work out, like whatever. So now she in there, she a CO, and like I said, she's dime. So CO niggas, everybody sweating her. I tell my man Khalil, yo, I know shorty from the street, blah, 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 blah. So she see me looking at her, I look at her, but I keep it moving. I'm an inmate, you CO. So somehow she got rattled with that. Next thing I know, I'm in the cell and everything like that. I'll lock in when we get back. Normally you get back, you can lamp out for a minute before you got to lock in for that, count, whatever. Bing. So now I'm in there, all of a sudden I hear bah, 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 all these, I'm hearing the marching. Next thing I know, I'm looking out like everybody else out the window and all that cell. And I see all these COs coming up because I'm on the second tier, in the Beacon, where if I'm in my recollect right, I think it's 48 cells, 24 on the bottom, 24 on the top, something like that. So I'm up top. I see the squad coming up. Next thing I know, they come to my cell. So they like, yo, big man, we don't want no problems out of you, whoop, 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 dot, dot, dot. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, what's this all about? Bow on bow. So next thing I know, here comes the little captain. Wow, you got a problem with one of my officers, this, that, and the third. I'm like, what are you talking about? So anyway, the chick put them on me. So now, like I said, they threatening to send me to 9 block, 9 blood. But, if you a jailer, you don't get comfortable nowhere, and you always got to let the police know that, like, listen, man, wherever you go, I'm going to be who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stand on my square, and I'm going to be who I am. So, boom. They ain't send me, on the even side. They pulled me over to the odd side. So now I'm getting ready to walk in the 4A. Blood all over the floor. They got the double gates, a gate that they open and let you in, and police the bubble. Then they got, the actual, gate or whatever you're going to go inside the dorm. Pardon me. So now, boom, I see blood on the floor, all that. That's already intimidating. Let me know that niggas is in there banging out, busting niggas open, 150s, the whole Rikers Island thing. So like I said, this is my second time, but I'm in here for something serious now. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go home. So I'm playing for keeps. My girl, she ain't got no phone at that time. My Dominican baby, Queen Sarah, shout out wherever you are. You held me down in this case. That's why I'm free. Anyway, she gotta be at the phone at 8 o'clock on Linden Boulevard, right across from the projects. You know what I'm saying? On Linden and Fountain. So everywhere I go, I don't care. They sent me Brooklyn House, 8th floor, 9th floor, same thing, because I'm in here for some serious shit. And if I ain't play with the police, I'm definitely not gonna be playing with none of you savages. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you I'm a supreme savage. So anyway, boom, like I said, anywhere I go, 8 o'clock to 8:30, let me live. We ain't got no problems. If I can't, it's gonna be some shit, So now, like I said, I walk in, I see the blood dragging my bags in. If you come in and you a big motherfucker out the gate, depending on your movements, the motherfuckers gonna size you up out the gate because you got size. Whether you aggressive with it, you calculating with it, or whatever, it's gonna be determined. Understand, I'm a wise man, Wise man can play the part of a fool, but fool can't never play the part of a wise man. But why a wise man won't play the part of a fool? But in our degrees, our supreme mathematics, the blueprint of life, the first degree is knowledge. Look, listen, observe, and most importantly, respect. So anywhere I go, I'm going to carry respect first. You know what I'm saying? Because respect is far greater than fear. You understand? So, like I said, come on then, boom, got my bag. Because I got mad shit. Like I told you, we got the tailor shop out there. So I'm jigged up all the way. Fila, Sergio Chittini, you know what I'm saying? All type of crush for Lloyd, polo shit, tailor-made, what I'm saying? Rocking Bally's with tailor-made, Gucci blue and gold with, come on, me and Bush going at it. It's a motherfucking fashion show. Every time we go to dinner, like what them niggas is gonna come out on. Check my record, for real. So anyway, like I said, I get in there, drag my bags in there, and boom, I'm checking it out. I'm rocking. Now, this is the daytime. If you roll into a house in the daytime and niggas is hogging the phone in the daytime, they got motherfuckers under pressure. Because the daytime slots is supposed to be for all the little doulas, let niggas live, boom, boom, boom. So I come in the daytime and I'm watching the movements on the horn. Because, sooner or later, I'm going to have to make my moves, I'm going to be here for a while. Anywhere I go, it's going to go down. Y'all going to let me live. You're going to show me some respect, or I'm going to do what I got to do. So, bingo. Drag my shit in. A bunch of niggas is watching me, the doulas. But I'm watching the motherfuckers that, is on the horn, because I know if they playing the horn, they a part of the big dogs. But you got to be careful, because when you're a big man, which is what I teach strategically with my youngsters, back then, is all y'all niggas better roll with me, no matter who come in here, how they wild out, because if they get in here and they a tyrant, then y'all niggas going to be under some shit. And on top of that, ain't no one man, I don't care who he is, going to be able to do nothing to an army, And I'm going to continue with this, because we had an army. So, put my joint, my bags up, everything. I come back out. Now, I post up automatically. I'm going to get against the wall, because if any drama or anything come at me, I can see from all angles. So, I post up against the wall, boom, 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 chilling. So, next thing I know, bang, I look over, I see a nigga come walking out. Here come my motherfucking man. little gangster ass I-born, you know what I'm saying, that was running with us, Ham Gap, all of them, you know, from Pink Houses, down with it, not even baby 18. Those was just our youngsters on the real team. But everybody know I-born, dark skin I-born, you know what I'm saying, from Van Dyke, Tilden, all that shit up there with the motherfucking wavy, nice hair and all that. So I-born come out. He see me. Wow. Oh shit. Shy, peace, God. Plus all of them, you know, is God body. So bang, you know, you know what I'm saying? I see him, he see me, so boom, he come over there, yada, 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 I kick the bobo, what's going on in the hood? I'm like, yo, son, I'm twisted, you know, they got me on 6 attempts on the C cipher, bing, 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 bing. What's the rundown with these cats right now? I see everybody playing the phone. It was my man Shy, I think his name was Shy King. He was Jamaican. I know he was from Flatbush / Crown Heights. And he used to, you know, was the barber in the barber shop, you know, and they used to come around to the dorms and do our hair anyway. But I'm going to find the picture where I had the whole flag cut in the back of my head, taking pictures with the guards out in the yard and everything else. So Shy rocking the phone, you know. Another light-skinned cat, my man Bar Kim, that was from Fort Greene. And see, back then, niggas used to be with the hands. Like I said, I was goonied up. And Bar and Allah bless the day, my man Big D, that was from up there on the other side of Pennsylvania with Phil and Dave and all them cats that got money. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Stretch from the Bammers that I did my first up north bit with in Groveland and all that. They was getting money out there with that airborne dope back then. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Big D wasn't in the house yet, but Bar Kim and Shy was rocking both horns, you know? So, me and Bond and all them, we used to box. I ain't gonna lie, Bar used to tear my ass up because Bar was quicker than me. You know, I could hit hard and all that. I'm fast from my side, but Bar was just, you know, he was real nice with his shit. I seen Bar a few years back, but Bar was one of them lady man, but he wasn't one of them light-skinned niggas that was no punk. He was with the business, I think. Matter of fact, he had a body or something at that time too. So, like I said, I-born come to me, let me know what's going on. I walk him back to the cell. I'm like, yo, what's popping with these niggas with this phone? He like, yo, well, you see how them niggas is moving, bing, bing, bing. So I said, well, yo, what's up in my? He said, yo, I'm gonna make sure shit go right for you, but just in case the nigga go, he hit me with the banger. He had one of them linoleum cutters, you know, good and rusty, the type of shit when you hit somebody, you know, you're gonna leave a mark. But I really wasn't with all that. I wasn't with no spitting out razors. And if I think you got one in your mouth, I'm gonna beat the shit out you, knocking your mouth around, trying to get you to swallow that razor or anything like that. But like I said, we, you know, discuss everything, bing, bing, bing. So after that, you know, they get up off the horn, go to child, now it's a little later on where it's rolling in the slot time. And I think my man D was going back and forth to court. So, and there was another cat in there from East New York, my man Eli. He was getting bread. He was like one of them real high class exclusive hit Waldorf Astoria, cat burglar, hit, you know, rooms for jewelry and all that. But he was a fly ass nigga. He was originally from the East. So basically, and my man, shout out to, I don't know where you at, Little Freckle Face Red. Little Freckle Face Red was from Brownsville. You know, he was from Noble G.R.V. Plaza. And how me and Red clicked was because he had an older uncle that was red also, Big Red. Okay, any of y'all niggas know anything about the original motherfuckers from out of there? Excuse me again. Noble G.R.V. Plaza, Canada Dry, Big Red, You know what I'm saying? I think the Fuller brothers might have stayed in there. Shout out again to my man Wink, you know, Michael Porter, David Holder, all these cats I played ball with, BRC, Vanguard, Oilers, and like I said, the East New York Ravens. So, you know, that's why I moved around in all those areas. We played ball soul in the hole, you know, the Dance Masters, 456 CeeLo and all that shit like that, playing music. So, you know, I knew a lot of cats from over there. So when Red and Big D and all of them come, you know, once again, like I said, you know, I'm not gonna hide. I'm from Cypress, you know, and that A-team, and at that time, it was a lot of beef going on. So a cat had to be a little leery of that. And what I forgot was when I was over in 3A before I moved out that night, you know, I'm not gonna say the name, but one of our youngins was over there, and him and another cat, another one of my youngins, I ain't gonna mention their name because they had some shit with attempt on the police too. But they was a little bit under pressure, you know, so they kept, you know, when I got in the house, 3A, my mans and them, and the reason why they was under pressure because they had a little beef on the outside once again with, you know, Khalil, Henry, you know, so Henry was moving around. Also, shout out to Little Kendu, you know, and Green Eyes from 335, Kendu, you know what I'm saying, last name Robinson, you know, all of them was straight with that Sparfit. Once again, they all, you know, grew up bidding and, you know, wilding out from when they was a juvenile. And all of them was down in 9 Block, you know. So, like I said, everything worked out. Boom, boom, boom. A lot of them cats ended up leaving. But like I said, I'm there, you know, because the first 4.5 months, it was like I was lost in the system, you know, so they ain't even take me back to court. So I'm lamping, hoping that they don't take me to court adjudicated to Supreme Court, whatever, you know, and it's on. So my lawyer's like, yo, just chill. If they don't get you, then 6 months, they got to let you go, you know? So that didn't happen. But in between that time, I'm going to start to tell you some of the heavyweights that, you know, started filling up in the building, you know. Shout out to my man that rest in peace also, Jody Allen, you know, from Coney Island, you know. That's when they, 2 Block is a 16 cell, you know. It was originally made to be the Bing, but they ended up turning it into, you know, a regular house. So Jody Allen was in there, you know. I hope my man, Your Majesty, is home now, but Your Majesty was in there. Another Puerto Rican cat, matter of fact, it was 2. This cat, Joel, was in there. He was running all the heroin. I'll tell you about how we got into it later on down the line. I'm just going to stick to this Bimmy because I'm going crazy already, you know. But they had this other Puerto Rican cat that was big as hell named GQ. And I'm going to tell y'all, too, if any of y'all cats go back to when it was really wild on the alley, y'all would know this Puerto Rican cat that was from out of the East called Convertible. They killed him, but that nigga was built like a Greek god. Him and another god that was from Bed-Stuy, you know what I'm saying? Allah bless the dead, too. That's what I'm saying. Y'all got to give it up. We was animals in there. Big Jamal, Q-Mar's brother. You know what I'm saying? Big Jamal was running crazy on the island, but all them type of cats. But anyway, that's GQ fitting into that type of category, you know, with them dudes. So, you know, you had Tiny, Big Head Tiny, you know, you had Bed-Stuy, and like I said, we worked at Night Sanitation, Little Mag, shout out to Big Head Igar, rest in peace. Igar ended up coming in there, you know. Rest in peace also to my man, and much due respect to his family because I was going to give him all his props, and they already told me just hold back. So when they come to do the documentary, they're going to let me come in on the 5% side. And that's a shout out to my motherfucking homie, you know what I'm saying, Bloody Hatchet. You know what I'm saying? You know, his name was True God back in the days. He told me that. My man, Karate Rod, taught him over there in Crown Heights. So we all got together. Little Inch, you know what I'm saying? I don't know really he dead or alive. You had 2 Inches from Brooklyn back then that was ringing bells. Little Inch from Rutland Road over there, you know what I'm saying? And you had the Inch from over there, Gershwin, you know, Pim Workman, all that, you know. At that time, matter of fact, you know, no disrespect, but like I said, I got to keep these stories official, you know. He was locked up in there for Pig's Body, you know, from my project. Arthur, you know, was his government name. Anyway, we had Little Inch, and then I'm going to go with the real Queens, you know what I'm saying, official gangsters too. You know, the Godfather, Tashim, T.A., another one that after Bush set me with the Strickland and I rolled and told T.A. what was going on, he set me down, showed me how to shepherdize, showed me how to get my shit together, which I'm going to read one of the joints, you know, that he showed me at that time. And I put this pro se motion together that I showed y'all when I was locked up for this particular case. And those are the individuals that end up helping me beat it, you know, in trial. But like I said, T.A. is in there. You know what I'm saying? Another cat named Gallo. You know what I'm saying? Gallo and motherfucking Malik Jackson. Any of y'all know anything? All of them was in the Bing. I think they was in the 1 block or whatever. Malik Jackson, they can't even let him out because everywhere he go, he knock police out. You know, all these cats are militant, you know what I'm saying, from the real, go up north back in, you know, the early 70s and shit like that, fighting them big crackers and, you know, Pappy, all them cats, you know, my man Waco, my OGs was on that radical shit. You know, you show you a real gangster when you bucking the motherfucking establishment or just not letting them do what they want to do, handle your little homies any old kind of way. That's real live wires. But like I said, Gallo in there. You know what I'm saying? Malik is in there. You know, they in the Bing. Him and Caballo is in there. I was in the Bing. I used to work in the law library, so the Bing used to come in there. So I done seen all of the pictures from Caballo, you know, out in the street, you know. And as it be, he came in with a little simple ass 2-4 and posted court like 4 bodies on the alley. Them was the first niggas starting to carry shanks up their ass and all that, and they hit you anywhere that it go. But I'm just trying to tell y'all the level of individuals that was in there. Teardrop, you know what I'm saying? My man, Big Jeff, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Black, that was the barber, Baby Paul from the Bronx. You had all type of dudes. Don't you know, I remember cats, you know, as I go along. Shout out to my young homies back then that ended up being super OGs. Little Wayno, you know what I'm saying? E.T., crazy looking E.T. from Harlem, you know what I'm saying? Lil Tiny, you know, my man fucking Ty, all them dudes. And that's what made it so crazy, because our block was off the chain with nothing but straight gangsters, and we all getting money. That's why we looked out for the young. They all ate good and everything. And let me tell y'all something, right? When they finally caught the guns in our block, because remember, like I said, the Beacon was made back then for a person doing 1.5 to 3. And any of y'all know there's a little area where they were supposed to have washers and dryers, and it had a drain. Also, shout out to, you know what I'm saying, my motherfucking Power Rule brothers. You know we was going at it with the Bronx and the Puerto Rican brothers extra. But my man, I gotta give it to him. You know, he in that documentary, Scarface, Rikers Island, my man Puerto Rican Peacock. He was a fly-ass cat, you know what I'm saying? But he was in there. And like I said, with D and them, even before D and them rolled out, we had what we call Black Love. So in 4A, we didn't have no Spanish phone, you know? So, like I said, once all them dudes had basically left, I was good from out the jump. I had already been rocking by the time everybody left out, and both phones was mine. You understand? So I made up, you know, the rules and regulations, and being that all the real gangsters was coming in there, there's no stabbing. We was winning every week for the best, you know, cleanest dorm, because guess why? When they had those wash buckets, nigga, you had to put your cigarettes out in those wash buckets. You couldn't have, you know what I'm saying, no butts on the floor. So we used to win every week. You know, they was bringing in the black market DVDs and everything like that. Shout out to my man, Rest in Power, the guard, skinny, big head eye guard from Nubia. You know what I'm saying? Shout out again, rest in peace, Hatchets. You know what I'm saying? Cody, Big Born Truth, over there in Nine Block. You know, motherfuckers walking around heavy and everything. You know, so the building was off the chain. You know, COs in there beating individuals to death. Shout out to our main COs in 4A, Rodriguez and Officer Harris. I know all of them retired by now. You know, shout out to Captain G. You know, that was the cat. That was the white boy. You know, they say HDM in the mother spots. You had a couple of them white COs that was walking around. They was on that real serious racist shit. Them niggas had fucking black babies hanging from their arm. Ask about it. Ask and see, because I was the only nigga in there with a big G on my joint. Me and that cat went through it. My whole house went to intake. You know? Depp Glover, you know? But anyway, Seabrook, he ended up becoming, you know, the first black head of the correction officers. Captain Amin, that controlled the movement. Because you know why? The guard was the head of inmate council. Yes, shout out to Miss Phillips. You know what I'm saying? So I used to go around the whole building, and I'm on night sanitation. I don't know if Officer Roberts, who's our man Shy, that was from Nubia, yes, the guard. And shout out again to my homie that I grew up with in Cypress at that time, that was a CO, Mike Dotson. So he was our relief. Shy was our steady. Me, Mag, Igar, a few more other brothers. I know a Pal Rule brother named Shy King, you know, and that's when it's ill, because a lot of times, you know, no disrespect, when it get heated, you know, if you ain't a real 5% and, you know, you of Latin descent, a lot of times you switch sides. But Shy kept it 100, you know. That's another thing. You couldn't come in our house and be sharpening that. And I heard, like, I be watching a lot of my men, shout out to St. Lad. A lot of y'all don't want to give up a lot of those Racking Island stories and that jail shit. But guess what? You know, that was making men. Shout out to my man, Jay Ryder. I be listening to you, son. You be giving it up official. You know, being you was Brownsville, you know, Harlem nigga. And like I said, I was an East New York, Brooklyn, Queens nigga all my life, you know what I'm saying, from my family. So I be listening to all that, and I could tell when an individual is authentic from an individual that's trying to make up something. Because if you say that you wasn't scared, never in your life under those conditions, going into, you know, those areas with those wolves, then something is wrong with you. So you got to be who you be. And the crazy part is, You know, I don't be wanting to blow cats up, but a lot of niggas that was busting their gun in the street and had all them names and all that, I'm definitely not talking about my mans or none of them, because all my mans touching all of them, they get down. They know how to get down with their hands, you know? For my man, one of the best that represent from out our projects back in the days, Bishme, you know? My man Showboat, you know? All them type of cats. But anyway, some of these so-called gun busters and riders and all that shit in the street, when they was coming in there with us real lions and wolves and tigers, you know what I'm saying? The real official individuals that don't get no points. We don't get no points off of fucking with y'all niggas that's lame, that's pretending. They built differently. Cats is dropping off bags of bear claws and all that shit at my cell, and I'm not even asking for nothing, you know, because I dealt with it from, you know, being God body and being righteous, not unrighteous. So even when I was in there, I'm teaching and educating the youth, you know. I got black civilization classes, you know. I got individual entertainers that come from the outside and all that. So the young that's amongst us, we educating them. You know, we trying to school them, uplift them, let them know, man, this ain't what you want to do. This ain't the course that you want to take. So along with that, we making sure that they live, and what the administration respected that all these young cats that was normally running around, being monsters, banging niggas up and all that, they chilling. And then I'm going to take it one level greater than that. You know what I'm saying? We had somebody from the preem team, a female, working inside the mail room. You know what I'm saying? So we sending niggas in 40 belows and all type of Jordans and, you know, Reeboks and everything. And y'all know what's going on with that. That's before, you know, the x-ray machines and everything got official. You know, where you could pull out back then they stopped with the 40 belows because you could pull out that iron shit right there and make guns. But we wasn't even worried about that because we had cats working inside, you know, working in the mess hall. My man, little Puerto Rican Popeye, and them was bringing back spoons and all that shit for us. We got all type of shit sharpened up in there. My man Gallo sitting down, he got a big long nail that's sharpened up that a puncher will go through one side and come out on the other. You know, but niggas is sitting around, you know, we got everything that's in the street. Like I told you, we getting this, you know, shout out to the Fagato brothers, you know, Pretty Tony, Black Rain. So y'all know how it was going down. We wasn't even dealing with none of that other shit them niggas was getting there. We go in the commissary, smoking Phillies and all that. Live it. I ain't bragging and boasting about it, but that's how it is. And like I said, every night when we go to Chow, baby, it's a fashion show. You know, I got the Bally's, the beige Bally's with the blue Gucci running around it, and then I got on the velour beige suit with the same gold powder blue and gold Gucci running down the sleeves. Being Bush acting up, fucking Hatchet, all of us, yo, you know, TA, niggas going to court, you know, with motherfucking $3,000 shoes on, $2,000 suits and this, that, and the third, all of us. Like Gotti, like the mob. You know? So like I said, man, let me just get to this right here. I'm just going to show you some of my legal work before I go into this last part. I know y'all been waiting on this Bimmy thing, so I might have to cut it kind of in half. This is a letter to my lawyer. Shout out to Miss Edna Swartz. You know, she and Miss Acock. Those were both my lawyers. But like I said, TA turned me on to this law. And this is your problem with your young cats that want to be out here committing all these crimes when your ass get all twisted. You don't even got enough knowledge of the law to know how to get your way out. But this is just a pro se motion, right? It says, Dear Miss Schwartz, first of all, I would like to state that I am very sorry that I could not make your council visit on 12/19/1991. With all due respect, I was not notified by your office in advance to what date you would be calling me to appear before you. Due to uncontrollable events on my behalf, I would like for your office to take into consideration that I have relatives from out of state that do come to visit me at this facility. There is no way I can notify them 3:30 a.m. in the morning that they cannot come to visit me because I have a council visit. So upon further reference, I would like to know at least 1 week in advance to the date in which I'm supposed to appear. Your cooperation in helping solve this matter will be deeply appreciated. Secondly, which is of utmost importance, is for me to find out what types of hearings I will receive on January the 14th, 91. That's when I'm about ready to go to trial, y'all. Also, if I have been granted a Wade, Mapp, and Huntley hearings, all the hearings that y'all dudes should know that you should have should you decide to go to trial. There are a couple of rules, for instance, the Ballum rule, where a prosecutor may not imply while cross-examining a defendant that if the defendant is telling the truth, then the prosecution witnesses, police, or otherwise must be lying. People versus Blom, 94 AD 2D 9333 464, New York, Supreme 2nd, 63, 1983. Also under the Chimel rule, upon affecting a search incident to arrest, the police can only search the G.R.V.C area, meaning that if you got a pistol or whatever, it's called 9/10 of the law of possession. The only way, like, if you got a pistol and y'all got it stashed somewhere away from you, you better make sure that it's stashed not within arm's distance or within reach. Because if they find you sitting on a bench, they find it right underneath the bench or behind the bench, you still getting charged. Okay? But you can beat that under the grab, possession area if it's not within your reach. Chimo versus California 395 U.S. 75289 SCT 2034. This case was in 1969. None of those guns that were found at the scene of the crime was within my grabbable reach. Because when they found the situation, it was street sweepers, 4/5, Mac 10s, oh man, with so much artillery, it was crazy in my case. The Donovan Arthur rule. Once an attorney enters the proceeding, a defendant may not be interrogated unless the attorney is present. Any waiver of this must take place in the presence of an attorney. So meaning you can't interrogate me if I tell you, I don't waiver my right to an attorney and all that. And if you proceed, then it's going to get thrown out because I asked you to, that I wanted a lawyer and you didn't bring one, which is your best bet. Don't run your mouth. The police is not your friend. They're only there to detain and arrest, nothing further. People versus Donovan, 13, NY 2D 148, 243, NYS 2D 841, 1963 case. People versus Arthur, 22, New York, boom, 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 1968. This rule was violated when the DA department called me down on June 18, 1991. That's when, because it all started May the 25th, but June is when they ended up rocking me. I got out on bail through my crew, and then they had, the parole locked me up. Okay. Furthermore, under the Molex rule, an exception occurs in those instances where the people, as part of their direct case, produce evidence of a common scheme or plan, which involves the commission of other crimes. In order to satisfy the expectation of the people, must establish that the defendant knew about it or took some part in other acts or crimes that made up the common plan. Because I was charged with aiding and abetting and acting in concert, So I had all the way from the attempt murders to all the weapons, possession, reckless endangerment. I wish I could find my joint right now because that's what I had planned on doing. I had a 30-page indictment. But all of this is what I wrote from those individuals that was real sharp in the penitentiary, what we call jailhouse lawyers. Okay? So let me finish this. So like I said, in order for a crime to be established, you must knowingly, voluntarily, intentionally, participate. If none of the above, then you can't be a part of that. Okay? And I'll go through that later on, but I beat that in trial, facing 165 to life under duress. Okay? So, People versus Molochs, 168 and NY2 286 1901. What scheme or plan was involved in to make the district attorney think this is me? I am not telling the truth as to the events that took place with me that night at the scene of the crime. My Huntley hearing is very valuable to me because of the written statement and video statement that I made that was given to the DA's department. But see, I was intelligent. So when I made my video statement, it helped me out. Don't all of y'all think that y'all could be a jailhouse lawyer and just say anything in a video. And once again, all these things took place and I was so on point because, I was a 5%er. That it taught me how to retain lessons and how to accumulate, facts and numbers and put them in its proper perspective, where everything is everything. I'm gonna go a little bit more, then I'm gonna go into this thing here with your man Bimmy, right? This is a definition of law and terminology because you got to break all this out. I'm coming out of Black's Law, you know what I'm saying, 5th edition, all that. But let me just drop a little bit more. An indictment can be defective on the grounds that the acts it accuses the defendant of performing simply do not constitute a crime. People versus Case 42 NY2D, 98 NYS 2nd 841 3. Y'all can shepherdize all that stuff on your own. I just like to go extra with y'all sometime. Or if it fails to allege that the defendant committed acts constituting every material element of the crime charged. See People versus McGuire 5, New York, all that. Also insufficient in factual allegations alone as opposed to a failure to allege every material element of the crime does not constitute a non-waivable jurisdictional defect which may be reviewed by this court even in the absence of objection below Soto, all that. So like I'm saying, when it comes to that, remember I told you I was charged with aiding and abetting. As you can see right here, I done went into Black's Law, found out what abettor is, what accomplice is, what accusation is. What does a Huntley hearing consist of? A Huntley hearing to determine whether a confession was given voluntarily, whether it was given in such a manner as to comply with the defendant's Fifth and Sixth Amendment right. People versus Huntley, 15 NY 2D 72. So in all these things right here, this is just, the Fifth Amendment, says that you have a right, not to incriminate yourself and all these other things. These is all the things y'all young cats gotta know. All right? People versus Huntley was decided before the landmark decision under Miranda versus Arizona, originally meant to determine the voluntariness of a confession. After Miranda, however, the hearing was expanded to incorporate the Fifth and Sixth Amendment violations. Now, here's where I come in with what I'm dropping in accord to that with my charges. I was coerced into giving up those statements to detectives of the 75th Precinct and also a member of the DA's department. They told me that if I make these statements that they would release me. Also that they would call me if they had any further questions. After that, I was arrested and taken to criminal court. I have been subjected to such cruel and inhumane punishment. I know how virtually every inmate nowadays will vehemently proclaim their innocence in vain attempt to facilitate their release. But my situation extends far beyond descriptive excuses and unsubstantiated assertion. Since my initial day of confinement here at G.R.V.C. detention, the Beacon, for men over 6 months ago, I have become better acquainted with more knowledgeable about the rules and evidence of law. I have been studying the law extensively and tenaciously. This preoccupation is a diligent effort to enlighten myself about my criminal court cases, as well as my understanding of all aspects of law. The Supreme Court has observed that the prosecutor is a representative not of an ordinary party to a covert, but of a sovereignty whose obligation to govern impartially is as compelling as its obligation to govern at all, meaning that the DA has got to go by a strict rule and code of conduct. Remember, in trial, he has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, and whose interest, therefore, in a criminal prosecution is not that it shall win a case, but justice shall be done. This is my conclusion to you, Miss Swartz, that under People versus Rogers, that a bright line is drawn to protect the attorney-client relationship which exists regarding to pending charges. May you have a happy holiday and a prosperous new year. Respectively, your client. You ain't got to see my government. But anyway, what's accusatorial part? Accused, you know what I'm saying? Accused to bring a form of charges against a person to the effect that he is guilty of a crime or punishable offense before a court or magistrate having jurisdiction to inquire alleged crime. See also indictment information. Yeah, God body for real, like he said. So I'm going to give it up because, my science and my knowledge and the brothers put me on the right path is what got me free today. So this is going to have to be broken up because this is pretty long. But let me go right now and get to the cluster of this, okay? If y'all stick around long enough or breeze through this, then you'll get to it. So while I'm in Coxrade, I'm in the Beacon, let me mention another you know what I'm saying, super duper OG. I'm talking about OGG from the desert, you know, by the name of Muhammad, who's on the same indictment with Prince and all the rest of them. And also shout out to my man Shaka Divine. You know what I'm saying? He was rolling with Malik and Gallo and them doing all type of stick-ups out there on any and everybody. I heard he got killed down there in Atlanta, but he was in the building also, all right? But anyway, like I said, Super OG Muhammad, Royal Hail, that was out there on South Jamaica side back in the maybe the fucking 60s or whatever, knocking out police dogs and all that type of shit. But anyway, that's when they was all on the indictment dealing with the Colombians and all that shit that happened across the street from Baisley. Muhammad is the one that worked in the law library giving out books, you know, with the penal codes. That's how I learned about the rest, which is the joint that Patty Hearst used to beat her case, which most black people can't use that and beat their case. But later on, I found that and used that, you know what I'm saying, as my defense or my case. So, understand, like I said, I'm in there with all of these super gangsters from every borough. And Muhammad is on Prince and them. He's co-defendant with them. They had been on the island 37 and a half months. All right? They beat it, and then the feds came to pick them up in 2 days. But during this course of time, listen to this part, folks, and I hope y'all stuck it out, that, you know, I seen my man take me up to his cell and showed me the indictment papers with 18 people's names on it. And my great man that, you know, believe, you know, in the God, you know, therefore, you know, up in the sky and remained a true Christian, Bimmy, name was on that indictment, along with Black Just, along with my man that I was up north in Groveland with that y'all all know. That's the only other legitimate Shy Boogie, rest in peace, that got killed out in fucking goddamn Jersey. Because, you know, he used to be calling from K-Dorm up there out to Black Just to his queen. You know, if you still around, Missy, all shout out, all do. That's what I'm saying. Don't play no games with me, homie. I'm an official tissue under the radar, you know. But anyway, like I said, he showed me all y'all cats' names on that indictment. He showed me, you know, just like I said, the individual before that pressed you, you know, my man Power Rule, you know what I'm saying, Righteous. And what he done with those knowledge build bodies. And, you know, at the end of the day, man, we just keeping all this shit G'd up, man. Don't nobody get bent the fuck out of shape, excuse my language once again, about this. And be like, oh, God, you took. Nah, all this shit is on paperwork, it's on file, everything. So I ain't saying nothing out the way. But I am including what, you know, is the real deal about these stories when cats want to get up here and try and act like they was Superman and all this, and they didn't go. And I'm not saying, homie, that you snitched, you told anything, because I cannot say that. But what I will say is that out of y'all 18 cats that was on that indictment paper, a lot of y'all niggas did not go to jail along with those individuals. A lot of y'all is, like you said right now, is still sitting here and you're not behind bars with life in prison. So I don't know what happened, Bimmy. You know what I'm saying? You know, it could be a legitimate explanation to why you and a lot of other individuals, like I said, Lord, you know, rest in peace, my man Black Just. Everybody loved Black Just in the hood. That was another thing, you know, when Just and them came out with the jet skis and all that. Like I said, man, we was around. We was around. The guards went everywhere. And like I said, once again, I had this knowledge since, you know, 1976. Went straight through school, played ball, the whole, everything. Got my degree. But unfortunately, once again, the youth, my mission is to let y'all know to do the right thing while you young. I got caught home for Easter break in my hallway with my same OGs with a 25 automatic. So after I got my degree the next year in 1984, it wasn't worth nothing because I got an F on my jacket. I failed. I failed in society. I had the degree, but I failed. So like I said, you know, Bimmy, I don't know the circumstances or whatever that left you out here. And I know you do got respect, you know, for the guards and the 5% nation. But like I said, man, just keep it G'd up. When you want to come out there and you want to say certain things, because I'm letting all of y'all know straight up out the gate right now, God in them streets, you know what I'm saying? 18 for life, Cypress Hill, all of that, Mount Everest, Linden Plaza, powerhouses, you know, pink houses, Nubia, you know, Brookline houses, Tompkins Projects, Marcy. You know, we was everywhere. Like, y'all cats talk all day. Where do you think Jay get that Jay Hoover, the guard, from? My man Lord Supreme, when he left out the powerhouses, went back to where he was from, Marcy. And I used to go down there as a young guard when they used to have civilization classes inside the centers. You know? All that hip hop, like Glaze had all them new sound out in Queens, you know, used to get off the number 7 train, the guard train out there in Corona and go to 127 Park, Booty Land. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but guards out there back then. Where they had all the tweeters and the ass kickers and all that up in there when we was doing the free. Betsy Haig, Karen Poole, all that, man. Official, been everywhere, like I said, get it right and exact. I was moving on mass transit in New York. I was born in 62. By the time I was 8, 1970, I was moving around like a teenager, like a grown individual. All right? So I'm going to back up off of this. You know, I got more to come. I still got to do my whole ODB joint. And, you know, this week coming, I'm going to be on some gentleman, you know, thing. I'm going to give y'all a tour and I'm going to go live for the first time at my homecoming at St. Augustine College. This weekend coming, October 14th, 15th, is going down, Raleigh, North Carolina. Group 5, group for life, swing 5, swing, my sisters. Love y'all. We going to get it in. So once again, this is part 2, you know, of Guards in the Streets, addressing just a little something with my man Bimmy and the Supreme Team and his, you know, controversial statement. All right? So make sure you subscribe to Guards in the Streets, get my likes up, all this. Like I said, I ain't doing this for no dough, so I can do this at leisure. But I guarantee you, boy, we gonna spit the real reality. I'm going to give it to you where, you know, like they said, the father said, don't take nothing on face value. Everything is subjected to show and prove, and then it got to come out right and exact. The knowledge is, don't take nothing on face value. The wisdom is, everything is subjected to show and prove, and the understanding is it got to come out right and exact. So once again, it's Guards in them streets. Hit the like button. Get my subscribers up. All that. Let's get it, popping, as they say. Peace.